We have seen that humans are haunted by a sense of right and wrong, a standard of behavior they recognize yet fail to live up to. But why should this be so? If people were simply imperfect, there would be no surprise. Yet the very idea of imperfection assumes a standard against which we measure failure. A man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. Unlike inanimate objects, stones, trees, or stars, humans recognize how they ought to behave, which is quite different from simply describing how they do behave. This is a crucial distinction. When we say a stone obeys the law of gravity, we mean only that it falls when dropped. It has no choice. But when we say a man ought to be kind or honest, we imply a law beyond his mere behavior, a law he is free to break. If this were merely a law of instinct or social convention, we would not feel the persistent weight of conscience when we fail it. This, then, is something peculiar about human nature. We do not merely observe morality, we feel bound to obey it. But perhaps this sense of morality is simply a convenience, something we label wrong only because it is unpleasant for us. Yet this cannot be true, for we condemn actions that do not harm us personally. A man might cheat in a business deal that does not affect me, yet I still call it wrong. If morality were merely about personal preference, there would be no reason to praise honesty in another when it costs him dearly. This moral law, then, is something objective, something real, not a human invention. Some might argue that morality is just an evolutionary product, arising because it benefits society. It is true that honesty and fair play create better communities, but that is not the real question. When we ask why we should be moral, if the answer is merely because it helps society, then we can ask further, why should I care about society? If we are only seeking personal benefit, morality is nothing more than a strategy. Yet we all recognize that we ought to do the right thing even when it costs us dearly. There is something beyond mere self-interest at work. Consider an outside observer, a being who knows nothing of human language, watching our behavior as a scientist observes falling stones or plant growth. He could not discover morality merely by watching us, because morality is not just what we do, but what we ought to do. It is not a physical law like gravity. It is a command pressing upon us. If there were anything beyond what can be observed, this moral law is a clue to its existence. If there is a something behind the universe, this is the one place where it directly touches us, not as an object to be studied, but as a voice that speaks within. Just as a letter delivered to our home is evidence of a sender, so too this moral law suggests something or someone who has written it into our nature. What does this tell us about the nature of that something behind? It is clearly not impersonal, like gravity or the laws of physics, for it commands, instructs, and presses upon us. Yet it is not a mere instinct, for we are often told to resist instincts for the sake of what is right. The most reasonable conclusion is that it is something like a mind, something with purpose and will, something that cares about our behavior. And here we reach an unsettling thought. If this power behind the universe were indifferent, neither good nor bad, we might take comfort in its indifference. But the moral law does not leave us that option. It is not neutral. It is good. And if it is good, then we, who fall short of its standard, are in trouble. God is the only comfort. He is also the supreme terror, the thing we most need and the thing we most want to hide from. Encountering absolute goodness is not simply a relief, but also a fearful realization, because we recognize our own moral failings in contrast to it.